Well, this is a snorting Norton, isn't it? This is a really cool bike.
It is. This is one that I did the motor on, about 7-8 years ago. It was one that my dad bought out of the same collection that the Rocket Gold Star came out of. It was a low pipe Commando when I got it, and the pipes were really rotten and they didn't look so good, so I thought, well, I'm going to need a new exhaust system anyway. And I mentioned to DJ when he was helping me do the motor that I'd kind of like to put high pipes on it, and he went up into his attic and he drug the header pipes out. So now, after that, I was kind of obligated to go ahead and order the S-Type. They're really similar to the Commando muffler. You get the heat shield, the bracket, the other bracket, and a stainless clamp or two and some bolts, and you put them on there. It's essentially a low pipe bike with high pipes. The True S had a silver barrel. They had this ring on here, but some people say they had a smaller headlight. I don't know. I kind of like it with the high pipes. It's just kind of fun for me.
I do. It's very distinctive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the only high pipe bike
I think it's the only high pipe bike I think that I'm aware of so far in the club anyway. And the halo is always cool, isn't it? That little ring.
Right. The headlight doesn't seem secure to me. It's got these funny little spring screw brackets down in there, and it kind of wiggles around a little bit. When you're going down the road, you're afraid it's going to fall off. But it hasn't yet, but I'm going to kind of watch it and maybe play with it a little bit.
And you put an oil cooler on it as well, and I see, Mike.
I did, yeah. I went to Portland Transmission and said, I need an oil cooler about this size. Took a piece of cardboard down there, after I kind of cut it to put it in above the pipes and everything, and set it up and did the braided line and ran it through, and then there's a vent line that comes around and up to the top, and I put an oil catch can in it. I had the hardest time getting this thing to seal the rings when I first put it together. And I used to just pump oil out the vent constantly. But now it's sealed up and I never get anything out of the tank. But after I went to all the trouble to put it on there, I might as well just leave it on there at this point. It makes people ask a lot of questions. What does this do,
Yeah, it's super cool, and this is an early one. Of course, you got the twin leading shoe front brake, and then the more elongated side panels as well on this. So,
a True S should have a fiberglass tank. This is a steel tank, which is good. It's been a great tank, and I think it's a little bigger than the S and the Roadster had too.
Yeah, awesome.
So it's a little bit of a hybrid, shall we say, but still fun to ride. When I did the engine on it, I got help from Portland engine rebuilders, Larson and King, and they did the balancing on it, and we put a Johnson cam in it, and I ported the head really well, and we did the 9.5-to-1, I think, Combat Commando pistons, and it runs pretty good. It's a great running bike. I got the cheap mirrors on it still. I'm going to switch those over to the other style, but they work, and they keep me legal. The important part is I have the Oregon Norton Enthusiast sticker on the back too.
We really appreciate that.
And the t-shirt, my favorite t-shirt.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. No, it's a very, very nice bike. I see you've got the early stand under there as well, the center stand.
Yeah, and I actually ordered a brand new formed reproduction chain guard on it. For some reason, the guy that had the collection of motorcycles that we pulled these few motorcycles out of hated chain guards, and he took them all off and threw them away. I was lucky to capture the one for the Rocket Gold Star, but this one was nowhere to be found. So it was a $250 chain guard, bare metal, and then it was when Oregon Plating was still open, and that was a $250 thing to plate it too. So I haven't done the forks on it yet. I've had the crown apart. It had a broken triple clamp on the top that the lock didn't work on because somebody apparently stole the bike and broke the steering lock at it at one time. So it was one of those things where I could actually TIG weld it up and grind it back down and make it look original and set it back up so the lock was functional again. Actually matched the keys, took the tumblers apart and matched the keys and everything to where it works. And I've had the speedometer apart on it once, and it seized up in there, the main bearing that comes through the zinc die casting on it, and it stuck and it twisted the cable off.
Oh yes.
I bought another inner cable for it that was too small, and the needle jumped 20 miles an hour, plus or minus 20 miles an hour, until you got up to about 40 miles an hour. So just recently I ordered a new speedometer cable for it, and it works perfect now, you know, so it's really nice. I built the tooling to be able to spin the bezel on and form it over. So it actually compresses the rubber gaskets so it seals them up and doesn't break the glass. And you put it in a lathe with a little ball bearing roller in the tool post and roll it over. You gotta be careful not do it too hard or you'll break the chrome trim on it. But I've done a couple of them now.
Yeah, I remember you saying you did that.
And that was kind of fun.
Yeah, excellent. No, that's a really nice job. Do you have to be a little careful with the mufflers, the silencers? It's got the heat shield, but nevertheless...
It doesn't get that hot on the heat shield. If you're riding in shorts, which I sometimes do up and down the driveway to get the mail or something, you know, I have to be a little careful, but it's pretty comfortable. You got to be careful around the headers. You can tell they've been hot.
Matches the color of the bike.
Oh, yeah. And these are Amels. They weren't great. You set the float level on them correctly, and that's half the battle. I've got the adjustable floats in there that you can go in and move them around so you don't have to press the needle seat up and down in the case. And you buy the new needle and the new needle jet. And the Commandos have a preset idle jet, so you don't have to monkey with that. I run the stock jets in this with all the stuff done to the engine, and it runs great. Plugs actually have a little color to them. I think I run, it's either a 7 or an 8 in it too. So the 7's a little hotter on an NGK and the 8's a little colder. It runs pretty good. It starts up a little cold-blooded, as you saw earlier, is popping and snorting and things. But once I came back up the driveway, it sounded really good, you know. And it idled at 1100 RPM.
Yeah, excellent. Would you mind starting your bike and giving it a
we can
ride
do that.
bike?
We'll see if it starts again.
That's great. And this has been a wonderful visit, Mike. Thank you very much.
You're welcome,
Really
Mike.
appreciate it.
I'm glad you could come out and check them out.
Thank you.